Hello, once again, it's time to do a sky study, and we're starting the next section, which is the Apostles' Creed in the Small Catechism. And today I have along with me Ryan, who's going to introduce himself by saying...
I didn't know I was introducing myself.
Oh, you want me to introduce you? This is my son, Ryan. He looks a lot like me, right?
No, I don't look anything like you.
No, you don't. But he's on a birthday break. He's home to celebrate birthday time with his sister.
Mm-hmm.
And so I asked if he would help with this sky study, so here he is. So anyway, so let's get into it, right? What do you think of the first part of the Apostles' Creed?
It's pretty good. It's pretty simple. It's all about creation. God is the creator.
And, I mean, that's a pretty easy thing to believe in, isn't it?
Yeah.
So should we just stop there?
I mean, I guess we could. Doesn't get much more complicated than that.
But yet Luther's answer is kind of on the long side. I mean, he talks about how God creates everything and that how God protects and preserves and takes care of everything.
Mm-hmm. And then some of that responsibility then also falls into us. That as believers, we need to do our best to take care of that creation and take care of ourselves and all that that entails.
It sounds a lot more complicated than when you first look at it and say, oh, the first part of the creed is short, no problem.
Yeah. But part of the creation of that section of the creed was to be simple and just to affirm that God did create the world, and that is a very important fact right there. And many of the founding fathers of Christianity wanted to affirm that against some of the other ideas that were out there that could have opposed that idea.
So I guess the question is, why would you not believe that God created heaven and earth? Or if you do, where does that leave you? I mean, if God didn't create heaven and earth, I mean, it is kind of a starting point. I mean, that pretty much puts you in the agnostic or atheist point for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And if God didn't create the heaven and earth, then we're back to one of the age-old questions of...
Well, then where, how, what?
Yeah, is there another who? There can't really be another who, because whoever would be another who would be God.
Mm-hmm.
So we just came out of nowhere.
Yeah. One of my classes that I had my senior year at Susquehanna, we talked about some of the major points either for or against believing in God, and a couple of my friends are probably agnostic, sometimes swinging to full atheism, and they go anyway. Depends on the day, really. But they...
It's Tuesday, so...
Yeah,
no.
So we were sort of talking about some of the points, and we brought up the creation thing, and it was sort of funny because we got to a point that it was like, well, in our discussion, well, if God didn't create the universe, and if the Big Bang just happened and, whatever, but it just didn't, there was nothing else, there was no other reasoning, there was no other logical solution to the question, as far as we know. So it leaves us, I think, at a point that, you have to make that jump of faith, but it's pretty spectacular to think about.
It is pretty spectacular. So does that mean that if you believe in the first article of the creed, does that mean that you have to be an environmentalist?
I think so.
If you believe in the first article of the creed, does that mean that you are definitely not agnostic and an atheist? Is it not? Two negatives make a positive?
Maybe.
Makes you a Christian? by just default?
Probably.
And I think a key part too is at the very end, don't skip off the end of Luther's answer, right? So that means that if God has created everything and all that we are earlobes to, you know, the little funky rough part on the back of your heel included, then that means that you need to give thanks and praise to God and serve and obey and honor. And
that's a big job.
it's a big job. This is not simple at all.
No.
Okay. Well, that's probably enough to start with, because it's a lot to start with. All right. Until next time, friends.
Peace.